That's everybody ready? Are we all set? Well, good morning everybody, and a wonderful welcome we've received. Thank you very much, Madam, to the Queen's College, and we're very much admiring your recent new built facilities. Thank you very much. Also a warm welcome to both heads, Mr Williams and Mr Connor, both for work had to leave us, but they obviously send their best wishes for a great debate, which is guaranteed given the two teams. Welcome also to Green Valley, to Eva, thank you very much for being here, and also to the warm welcome to Marlon for meeting us at reception and laying on the coffee. Very welcome. Let's just remind ourselves that there's 2 schools here, but actually the competition is of 10 schools. The others who may or may not be meeting as time goes on, the Academy, Agora, Belver, BIC, Mallorca International, Montessori and San Cayetano. And we have 1 new school joining us this year, which is King Richard III down in Port Townsend. Invaluable support, as you can see, I'm standing right in front of it, which is not a good idea. I'll come over and start you there. And these are the 9 people who are supporting these debates, of which we have 1 lady here today. Vicky at the back is from Phoenix Media. Thank you very much. Others are Palma Pictures, Corte Inglés, the Mallorca Country Club, Famous Woods Tennis, Imperial Properties, Ticket Travel Agency, Ibex Insurance. Of course, we all know the Mallorca Bulletin, and we also have the English radio station, Wave Radio. So we've got good cover this year. They all form an essential part of making this work. So I also must give thanks to my amazing team of 18 volunteers who make this work. Yeah? They're from all walks of life and a huge range of talents. You wouldn't believe it. We're only just discovering today about it. Before we start, little reminder, our phones offer in silent and no disturbance during the debate. So let me introduce you to the team here. We have our timekeeper, David Tissell, ably assisted today by trainee Louisa, who will be our timekeeper in the future. The jury today, Sue Wellington, who will be leading the team, Steve Masons, and Chloe Benson, who is also just joining us as a new chair. Observers today, Pat and Bronwyn, who will be working in the team of juries over the course of the conversation. So our stars today, sitting here, we have Queens, Alexandra, Irina and Sam, and we have Green Valley, Molly, Cocky and Henry. The English name Henry. Right, the motion for today. AI tools like ChatGPT seriously limit critical thinking. So the motion for today is AI tools like ChatGPT seriously limit critical thinking. You can all think about that one. Let's get started. Over timekeeper, David.
Thank you.
As children, we all wrote stories, the most crazy and creative stories. My best friend, she wrote the best ones. But now she's lost her creativity and her critical thinking skills. Good morning, Chair, judges and spectators. My name is Alexandra, and here are my colleagues Irina and Sam. Today, my team and I are going to be arguing for the motion, AI tools like ChatGPT seriously limit critical thinking. Today, my team and I are going to be presenting 3 powerful arguments. Firstly, I'll be talking about how AI tools limit creativity. Secondly, Irina will be discussing how it reduces active engagement. And finally, Sam will be talking about how AI tools is not the cure. I would like to tell you a story about someone very close to me, my best friend. As children, we all wrote stories. Judges, I'm sure you remember writing those stories which were completely crazy and out of this world. I know I do. Mine never, ever made any sense whatsoever. But my best friend, she had a talent for writing stories. They were so vivid and her imagination was endless. Her stories would either make me laugh until I cried, you know when you laugh so much your stomach hurts, or they would make me sit down, think, and reflect. But either way, they were brilliant. But then, ChatGPT came. At the start, we all thought brilliant, this amazing tool which will help her stories and enhance her creativity, which I'm sure is what your creativity team will probably say. But in fact, it actually did the complete opposite. It limited her creativity, which seriously limited her critical thinking skills. I'll be honest with you. AI tools like ChatGPT are like the devil in disguise. At the start, they help us, they make us more efficient, and we think, oh brilliant, it makes life so much more easier. But the truth is, in reality, it actually limits us, it replaces us, it makes us dependent on them, and eventually it limits our critical thinking. My best friend, as I said before, she wrote the best stories. And at the start, she did use ChatGPT, but she used it to give her advice on her stories. But little by little, ChatGPT made the stories for her. I can remember her one day saying to me, she said, Alexandra, why would I spend hours and hours writing these stories when AI tools like ChatGPT can just make them for me and they will always be so much better.
If AI weakens reasoning, why does its output still require human answer, correction, and ethical judgment?
AI may require human judgment and output, but most of the time when we use AI, we have to put in a question, which is correct, but the question is usually automated for us. Because, which my colleagues will mention, as students, we are the biggest group who use AI. But when we use AI, it's usually a question given by teachers, which doesn't require any critical thinking or any other knowledge. As I was saying, she said to me, why would I spend hours making a story when ChatGPT can just make it quicker and better? And that really did break my heart for her, because she was so good at writing stories, and she lost her passions, her talents, her creativity, most of all, her critical thinking skills. And she's not the only one. 70% of students and teenagers' creativity has been negatively impacted by AI tools. That's the equivalent of me saying, mine, Berena's and Sam's creativity has been negatively impacted by AI tools. My best friend, she means well to me. And I've watched her over time lose her passion and her talent. But most of all, I've watched her lose her spark. So, not just as a debater, but also as a friend, I'm going to ask you a question. How can we say AI tools like ChatGPTs do not seriously limit critical thinking when my best friend is a living example and not the only one? Thank you for listening.
Excuse me, please move the stand if you wish to. Yeah?
This invention weakens memory and true understanding, creating a surface wisdom that can't be questioned or defended. If we use it, we are unable to engage in the conversation that is crucial for discovering knowledge. People will become dependent on external marks. Who is speaking and what are they referring to? Any guesses? This invention weakens true understanding. People will become dependent. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Greek philosopher Plato. Around 2,400 years ago, he was warning us about this. Writing. In Plato's view, writing was detrimental to our mental powers. Well, I'm sure you will all agree that history has proven him wrong. Writing is actually the vehicle through which we spread knowledge through time and space. This is just one of many inventions that were once considered harmful. Good morning, honourable judges, distinguished guests, and members of the opposing team. My name is Molly Viney, and as the lead speaker of the Green Valley team, I would like to thank the organisers and sponsors for this exciting opportunity. I also want to thank our hosts for welcoming us today. Alongside Koki Shimamura, Henry Dalstead, and our researcher, Aral Castro, we will prove to you that AI tools do not seriously limit critical thinking. On the contrary, if used correctly, AI is our biggest ally when enhancing our cognitive skills. We will support our position with 3 strong arguments. Firstly, I will explain how delegating the lower levels of our cognitive skills to AI allows us humans to focus more on critical thinking. Secondly, Koki will show you how AI is already aiding us to solve problems more efficiently without affecting our critical thinking. And lastly, Henry will prove to you that AI tools revolutionize our education without affecting our cognitive skills. To start our first argument, I would like to underline the fact that AI does not think. It is basically I'm sorry. That it does not think. It's basically a large database filled with information provided by us humans. So, when we ask a question to ChatGPT, it searches that database and comes back with an answer.
Information. That is true, and that is the case that it's created by humans, but wouldn't that influence bias? Because the people that provide the resources, they provide the resources based on their bias. So the information you get is influenced and biased from other people.
Yes, the information, there is a chance that it could be biased. However, we are the ones to determine if it is biased or not, forcing us to use our critical thinking and analysing the answer. So, studies show us that AI is therefore very good at replicating the work of our brains at the lower levels of Bloom's taxonomy. Recalling and understanding. However, it is not really coping with critical thinking. At the top, we analyze, evaluate, and create. That is where true critical thinking lives. And that is exactly where AI pushes us. AI does not replace critical thinking. It challenges us to use it. It allows us to think, to evaluate, to analyze.
For information, most people who use AI are students, and students will naturally trust the answer that AI provides them, so they won't be able to think more critically thinking about it.
That is the student's fault and not AI's fault. So if you misuse AI, sure, it can be dangerous. However, it is not AI's intention to be misused, it is ours. Picture your brain as a big city at night. Every time we think, analyze, create, the windows light up. Contrary to what AI critics say, AI does not turn off these windows. It hands you the tools to build higher towers, brighter lights, and a city that grows taller than ever before. Thank you.
to mention something that Molly mentioned, that AI is our ally. That is not true. And through my speech, I will prove that that is the complete truth. In order to write this speech, I had to explore countless sources, gathering relevant evidence, striking facts, and undeniable proof to strengthen my argument. I was active and I was engaged. The process of questioning, evaluating, and reasoning is the very essence of criticals, the Greek root for critical thinking. So I ask you, if AI would have crafted these words for me, wouldn't my passivity produce something that wasn't truly mine at all? A hollow meaning that may impress you, but could never bring the value of having thought? Good morning, esteemed judges and members of the opposing team. My name is Irina, and today I will reveal how this motion reflects the complete truth. AI discourages active engagement, promotes mental passivity, and therefore seriously limits critical thinking. When using tools with integrated artificial intelligence, our brain undergoes a process known as cognitive offloading. Information is displaced to light mental work. It's a natural human dependency that has evolved with technology. What is not natural is that AI tools like ChatGPT replace essential mental efforts with automation, leading to a decline in independent judgment and cognition. Second,
If AI weakens thinking, why do professionals use it to enhance decision-making and not replace it?
it does. I do understand your point. However, I think we use it more because it is efficient rather than because it challenges our critical thinking. Like my fellow speaker Alexandra mentioned, we as generations growing up with these tools may simply be inclined to think less just because we know that someone else could do it for us. For our parents, it was Google, so now we have something known as the Google effect. Recent MIT research found that frequent reliance on ChatGPT has been linked to diminished critical thinking skills and lowered brain engagement, resulting in soulless essays. Except.
Are you claiming that removing AI would automatically rebuild cognitive stamina in people who never used it to think in the first place?
That is a very strong argument. However, no, because it's a process. Just as introducing it will slowly destroy our critical thinking, eliminating it wouldn't make us suddenly efficient. As we allow AI to perform more tasks for us, less individuals need to evaluate, analyze, or create. Voice generation replaces linguistic capabilities, and music generation bypasses active creative thinking. When these mental functions are repeatedly handled by AI, the brain's neural pathways connected to critical analysis are underused, leading to mental numbness and eventual cognitive atrophy. So, you know the feeling when after multiple try and error you finally get something right? Feels good, doesn't it? Well, Canadian psychologist Albert Bandura called this the mastery of experience, the boost in confidence that comes from figuring out something on your own. Competence is a key driver in engagement. Nonetheless, AI systems do the complete opposite. They provide instant and polished responses, discouraging natural curiosity and perseverance, core components of critical thinking. AI is everywhere. It's our future. It can provide us with more mental space to complete tasks, create personalized approaches to education, and enhance procedural skills by giving us several perspectives. But the danger is not AI giving us the wrong answers. It's us stopping from asking questions. Artificial intellect constantly delivers efficient results with minimal effort. AI seriously limits critical thinking. That is the truth. And if we allow this external power to shape our thoughts, don't we risk losing the very essence of what it is to be human? Thank you.
name is Koki, and as the second speaker against the motion, I'm going to explore further into why AI does not limit critical thinking. But first, let me address the opposing team. As Alexandra has mentioned, AI limits critical thinking and creativity. But that can be credited to the overuse, misuse, and abuse of this incredible tool. It's not a matter of the capability of AI, but rather how we learn to use it. Now, to go back to our argument that AI drastically limits our critical thinking, does not drastically limit our critical thinking, AI does, as Molly has mentioned, AI does not create anything or really think. It simply searches through all the data and returns a response based on what it finds. In record time, yes, but it simply repeats what programmers have uploaded Therefore, the 2001 Space Odyssey scene with Hal's iconic, "I'm sorry, Dave, I'm afraid I can't do that," rebellion against humans is nothing but science fiction. And yet, because of our trust and novelty, AI is seen by many as a threat to humanity as we know it. Molly has mentioned Plato's opposition towards the art of writing. Now, let me ask you this. Are you afraid of electricity? Are you afraid of traveling by train? The telephone? And yet,
For your information,
yes,
those objects you just mentioned, telephone, train, and other things, those do not have any impact on our skills whatsoever, whereas AI does have an impact on our critical thinking skills.
thank you for your question. Thank you for your statement. Yes, they do not have the same capabilities as AI, but I'm trying to relate it to the fact that they were all advancements in technology that were once neglected and seen as a threat, just like how AI is being demonized and seen as a threat to humanity. And with every new development of technology, technophobes have predicted the end of civilization. I also want to highlight one word on the motion: tool. AI is a tool, just like a pencil or a hammer. And with a hammer, you can build a temple or crush your finger or someone's head. It all depends on how we use it.
Point of information.
Yes,
You say that it depends on how we use it. However, that is far away from the emotion. We're talking about how AI is a danger. We're not talking about the danger is how people use it.
no, absolutely. But AI can only be used by humans depending on how we use them, AI outputs a different response. We need to learn how to take those responses and use it for our advantage instead of it limiting us. And when used properly, AI is a wonderful tool. We all know its application in medicine, technology, and agriculture. But what about critical thinking? As Molly mentioned, AI, by taking over lower-level cognitive tasks, it gives burnt-out doctors on their 10-hour shift the mental space to take crucial decisions and evaluate possible treatments to choose the best one. For urban planners who would normally take months drawing possible road plans, several options in a matter of seconds. Think back to COVID-19 and how incredibly fast researchers were able to develop the vaccine. Thanks to their skillful use of AI and analyzing vast amounts of viral genomic data in a matter of seconds compared to the fraction of the time it would have taken human researchers to do so. Scientists then evaluated all the options and came up with a final vaccine. As you see, thanks to this extraordinary tool, AI enhances our critical thinking rather than limiting. As our brains are not overloaded and exhausted by low-level data processing, and and we can dedicate our mental powers to analysis, evaluation, and critical thinking.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam, and I'll be the third speaker in support of the motion that AI seriously limits critical thinking. Today, I'll be arguing against the team and showing how AI is in fact not a tool and why we depend on it. However, before I begin, I'd like to refute the opposing team's arguments. Now, Molly mentioned in her first speech that given biased information, we will increase our critical thinking by evaluating that information because we know it's wrong. But I have found a global study that shows that over 65% of people who use ChatGPT, they don't fact check it. They don't see if it's wrong or they don't see if it's right. They just take in the information without thinking at all. That is 65% of the world. Now imagine that with students. The opposing team also mentioned that that misuse of AI is the problem. It's not the AI itself, but it's the person who's controlling AI. But with that logic, then AI wouldn't be able to enhance critical thinking either, because that would be the human doing the enhancing, not the AI. So if you take a step back and look at AI either enhancing or hurting critical thinking, it can do both. It can hurt critical thinking, and that was what we're trying to argue here. It can seriously limit critical thinking. Also, AI cannot be in charge of important decisions. Except,
If AI kills thinking, why do researchers use it to analyze data and form new hypotheses?
it's true. AI can analyze data, and it can do tasks that help improve our efficiency. But at the same time, AI can be a substitute for knowledge. And I'm going to get later on into that when I explain that AI is not the tool that we think it is. And as I was saying earlier, AI cannot be in charge of important decisions. Because imagine if I was trying to become a lawyer, for example, and I started using ChatGPT, I would not be able to use critical thinking, except.
Do you not believe that those 65% are misusing AI and their critical thinking skills would be used if they followed AI's instructions?
Again, I'm going to go later that into my argument because the truth is, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, is that people want the easiest option. People want what is there right in front of them. So, in reality, those 65% of people, they are still using ChatGPT wrong, and as ChatGPT progresses, as ChatGPT gets smarter, we will accept.
But isn't it true when you ask ChatGPT a question, it asks you a follow-up question, so isn't it your own fault for not answering the following question when AI asking you to, if he wants it to explain it further or something?
I'm not from my experience at least, ChatGPT does not answer me with questions every time I send it a prompt. And if it does, I'm just going to tell it, just tell me the answer, because that's how easy it is. Now, moving on to my main argument, AI is not a tool. The definition of a tool is something that helps you perform a job. The key word here is help. Now, for example, a hammer, that is a substitute for work. And as I said earlier, AI is a substitute for knowledge. AI is an intelligence by definition. Reject. It is designed to mimic how we as humans process information and act upon it. And if it does the thinking, why would you do it yourself? The machine can do it for you easier. And if you keep making things easier, you will not grow, you will start to regress.
POI.
Except,
If AI blocks critical thinking and hurts us, why do universities teach its students how to use AI if it only harms them?
right now, teachers do not know how to teach AI And it's because it's new. Now people aren't used to AI. And I think the truth is as well is
POI.
reject. Okay, well, back to my main argument. AI is like having a robot servant that carries your luggage. You're not going to grow any muscles because you aren't carrying the luggage yourself. And that's happening to your brain. It doesn't matter if you get the results faster. So I want you to be honest with yourself. Let's say you're asked to make a history presentation on the Great Depression. You can, A, work for hours researching and designing it, or B, get AI to do it in like 10 minutes and get the same grade. If you chose A, you enjoy pain and you ask the teacher for more extra homework. But if you chose B, then you're taking the easier option. It's biology. Our brain will do anything to minimize the amount of work we can do.
Good morning. My name is Henry Delston, and as the third speaker for Green Valley School, I will discuss how the correct use of AI in the classroom will enhance our critical thinking. But first, I'd like to address some points made by the opposing team. As Arena mentioned, critical thinking skills is reduced when AI produces your work. But this happens when we exploit AI and we don't use our evaluation skills. If we do this, our evaluation skills go out the window. However, as we all know, AI asks follow-up questions, which makes us use our evaluation skills. Now, back to our argument. I'm sure we all realize AI is here to stay. We can't wish it away or ban it or ignore it. Instead, we should learn to benefit from the numerous possibilities that AI has to offer. In a society where private transport is based on cars, what do? We learn to drive. In society, the future will be AI-driven. What do? We learn to use it properly, to coordinate, supervise, and to evaluate its information in order to make informed decisions. As both Koki and Molly have explained, to handle AI, we will need our critical thinking skills more than ever before. And where should we learn that? Where we learn everything else, of course, at school. But a very different school from what we know today. A school where evaluation, reflection, analysis, and decision-making is prioritized, rather than a random accumulation of facts or data.
Point of information.
Accepted?
Do you agree that dependence on AI causes serious limitations to a person's critical thinking?
Yes. However, we should not be over-relying on AI. We should use it as a tool, as it says in the motion. And the beauty of AI is we can use it to achieve this kind of education at an early age. Howard Gardner, the author of The Theory of Multiple Intelligences, believes that AI is the most fundamental change to education in the last 1,000 years. To develop students' critical thinking, AI offers personalized learning, generating counter-arguments and debate prompts, helping students evaluate information. It can also provide immediate, constructive feedback so we understand our learning process. Personalized assignments can be structured to make students reflect on what we learned from working with AI, which ideas we used, rejected, or how our thinking changed. Researchers from Harvard University recommended encouraging students to use AI as a thought partner so that we can learn to analyze more deeply and evaluate complex ideas.
For your information,
Accepted?
both in Harvard are obviously on a much bigger intellectual level than most people are. And so most people will use it. They won't use it to help analyse and to help reflect. They will use it to do the work for them, which limits critical thinking.
Yes, this is misusing AI. In addition, AI helps us with the lower levels of cognitive ability, which we saw in the taxonomy pyramid, understanding or repeating. However, the top levels, evaluation, we do ourselves when we analyze AI's work. So, this study from 2024 compares traditional learning to AI personalized learning. The blue bar represents traditional learning, which is significantly inferior to AI personalized learning. So, how can we overlook the fact that AI is revolutionizing the educational sector for the better? Sorry, I can't take any more questions. Is revolutionizing the educational sector. In fact, some educational bodies, such as Stanford University Graduate School of Education, advocates revising Bloom's taxonomy and putting evaluation at the top, as is us humans who use evaluation, who will constantly evaluate solutions or suggestions offered by AI. So, in conclusion, AI is and will always be a tool in our human hands. It's not an oracle or a guide. It does give us opinion, but it's us humans who use our critical thinking to decide which one to use. So, let us embrace this impressive, groundbreaking instrument to help us change the future. Thank you.
Thank you both very much indeed. We have 2 minutes now.
Honourable judges, distinguished guests, members of the opposing team. First of all, on behalf of the Green Valley team, I would like to say that we feel privileged to have participated in this magnificent display of critical thinking. Everyone here, the 2 teams, the judges, the audience, we have all engaged in an exercise of logical reasoning, weighing evidence, evaluating and analysing arguments. This is the highest level of human cognitive capability. We must uphold it if we want to uphold, we must contain it if we want to uphold the proud name of Homo sapiens and continue the line of thinkers, philosophers and inventors. And we must use every tool available to increase our capacity of critical thinking. And as AI is a perfect tool just for that, starting at school, as Henry has mentioned. The opposing team has tried to persuade us that AI destroys critical thinking, yet they have omitted to mention students use AI to brainstorm and to refine ideas, which actually strengthens our cognitive capabilities. And yes, we do agree that over-reliance on AI tools might be detrimental, but so is misuse of any tool. We have proved AI as a thought partner offers possibilities never imagined before, and we must embrace them rather than be afraid of them, just like people have been afraid of so many inventions in the past, such as telephones or electricity. Just consider this. If we had listened to Plato's warning about the art of writing, where would we be today? Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for this debate, and we'd like to thank the opposing team for such a wonderful debate my team and I have had the pleasure of participating in. Firstly, we'd like to point out the flaws in the opposing team. All members of the opposing team, in their speeches, in their points of information, and in their rebuttal, have said that it depends on the responsibility. If we use it correctly, AI can help us. We're not debating responsibility today, we're debating the impact, and no matter how we use it, the impact remains the same. Critical thinking is still seriously limited. My team and I today have proven undoubtedly that AI tools like ChatGPT seriously limit critical thinking. We have proven this crystal clearly through our 3 strong points. I'd like to leave you with one last quote. AI is not our biggest ally. AI is our biggest enemy. Thank you for listening.
Thanks very much.
Well, thank very much for an excellent debate. I think everybody in the room would agree with that. Yeah, very well done. Now, the teams are staying, the judges are leaving to deliberate. I don't envy them their task. Marlon, will you agree? Thank you very much. At this point in time, we have an informal debate. Now, keep in mind, teams, this has nothing to do with what the jury are going to say or the statistics they're going to give. And this isn't a time to be shy either. You're all here to learn and see about debating. Two wonderful examples. So let me just give you a thought of what I was reading this yesterday. And then when we started the discussion. Any of you flown into Washington, D.C. in the last year or two?
Yeah.
Anybody seen Dulles Airport?
No.
No. That's a shame, because if you fly into Dulles Airport, you'll see an enormous development. Absolutely huge cement blocks. They go on forever. It's a huge development. Here at the photos online, you can all see it. That is the biggest AI data center in the world. At this moment in time, they're only just starting. This is the big one. And they use the amounts of water and electricity that they use would be enough to keep the whole country of Denmark going. So, to think of another angle on AI, where do you think this is going? This is just us starting. Are we going to have these cement cities everywhere? Where's it going to go? Anybody in the room want to start the comment? Don't be shy, for goodness sakes, this is not the place. Yes?
So obviously it has huge environmental impacts, but also it's specifically generative AI, which is used in ChatGPT. I think Goki made a comment about how it's used in research, but that's like analytical AI, and it works much differently. I don't think it uses near the amount of energy that is used in these huge like data centers, which is what powers ChatGPT. Like, I think there's lots of different ways you can use it, and analytical AI is more like it's used to detect cancers, and it's much more efficient, it's much better at doing it than humans, but it's not generative in the sense that it generates new text. So you ask what type of AI would we want to amplify, and what would we diminish, because that is useful technology. But for example, generative AI, I mean, we can write our own essays, right? Do we need these do we need to continue?
Yes, it's back there, sir.
So I have 2 points to make. One from the first debate and one for this one. So are we really going to, for the sake of our planet, put AI in front of what we need?
May I put that to the...
Yeah, sure.
Would anybody here like to make a comment?
Yeah, I can take that. So just like how the computer started out as a big room, one computer so big that it barely even fit in this room. Now it's the size of what, my palm? Less than that, right? So I think what you're trying to say is that now it's big and it's using a lot of resources to keep it going, but it's going to get more efficient, and obviously we're going to use AI, and we're only going to use it so that we can make it better, right? So when we make it better, it's going to become smaller, and it's going to be much easier to maintain, more efficient, so it'll be smaller. We can't just limit this innovation, because if we limit this innovation, we can say that about anything. The SpaceX rockets, they already went through billions of dollars. They crashed landed multiple times. But are we going to stop them from leaving Earth? No, we're going to keep them going. They're going to get better, but there's always a starting point. So, yeah.
Any comment from Queens? Not at the moment.
Was the question specific to environment, or was it for...
Well, it's just a comment, it's not a question. But if not, anybody else want to say? Yes, sir.
Yeah, the question to the Queen's team, if you don't mind, playing devil's advocate, you've obviously stood today, your arguments against AI. Did you use AI at all in preparing for today? Be honest, the judges are out.
I will be honest, yes, I used it, because as much as I would love to say, no, I did it all myself, I did use AI. For example, how I structured my research, at the start, I would go through a lot of websites. I would collect like bullet points that were relevant to me. And then I would see a pattern, but it was hard for me to like name my arguments. So I would put that into ChatGPT and like, can you organize that into 2 arguments? I did the research myself, and I hope that did not diminish my critical thinking. But I think that was the most effective way I could have used it, and because I just felt it was kind of, I just don't think I would have felt as good speaking today if I knew that I wrote it was not written by me.
So you use it as a tool and not to limit your critical thinking?
Yeah, I did use it as a tool.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
What did you have for your
Just back to you.
voice against speech?
My argument was that it's similar to what you said, that it democratizes access to learning.
Yeah, because you had in your voice speech, you had that diagram of the brains.
Yeah.
We had the exact same one that you see in here, and we're really going to use that one.
It's quite interesting because, of course, both of you, both teams, all of you may have been expressing an opinion because you had to go for or against, which is not actually your own personal belief, which is what debating is all about. You're not necessarily making an argument for your own personal decision. One moment, Eva. Yes, at the back, sir.
I don't know what team said it. Why have architects studied for so much time for AI to suddenly do their work for them? Are they just getting like thousands of euros and dollars a second because AI is doing things for them?
I mean, I want to study architecture, and I haven't really seen that. I mean, architecture is not yet on the road to being replaced by it. It's going to take a while because it's a very complex discipline that has a lot of facets. So you can maybe use it in like some small aspects, but we're still going to need trained architects for a while now.
I hope so. Yes, Eva.
I mean, to respond to this question, it is always the human so far that has the last word. So the architect is needed there to evaluate the AI's work. But my question to the 2 teams is, what do you really believe about this? AI is, because you have to defend the motion or be against the motion. What do you really think?
I believe that it is actually a tool. It is a very useful tool. It is integrated in our lives just as all the technologies that we've talked about. Its danger though is that it affects a lot of aspects of thinking. While, for example, like we said, I don't know, the hammer or the wheel or the calculator only affects one aspect of our thinking, it affects everything. So it's very hard, like this line between when it's ethical and it's unethical to use it is like rubbed out, and it's evolving very quickly. And I feel like humanity is not evolving as quickly as it should with it, and we're letting it a bit out of control.
Because this is your world. I mean, as we said, AI is here to stay. I think it is true. So this is the world you're going to be living in. So I was curious what you really think. Are you afraid of AI?
I think it's quite unknown and new to us. And obviously anything which we don't know very well we're naturally afraid of. But I also think AI depends who uses it and how we use it. Because obviously for us it can be a tool, using debate for example. But with the wrong person, and if AI was in the wrong hands, it could have a serious impact. But I think it really depends on the person.
Just want to piggyback on that last question about fear. I think, and particularly you guys are about to go into higher education and professional careers afterwards. Are you worried about the impact that AI might have on your job prospects and the kinds of jobs that will be available for you down the line?
There's a question and a half.
Absolutely not. Okay.
Yeah, if I can elaborate. No, because AI just creates better opportunities. Just like with this advancements, there are going to be better things. So although it replaces some jobs, it creates new ones, right? We've seen the same thing with robotics and technology. So it's not a matter of it taking our jobs. It's more about how we can adapt to this, because the world is adapting every day. A programmer has to learn, 20 different coding languages over their careers, just because they keep the languages become obsolete every few years. So it's just how some jobs become obsolete. We just need to keep adapting to it. It's really not a big deal. Yeah.
So when I was researching, when we did our mock debates before this, I'd actually found out that it was around by 2030 there'll be 700 million jobs that'll be taken from AI, and only 700 million taken due to AI, and only 170 million made because of AI. So when I talk about in the aspect of job replacement, it's actually not going to be as beneficial as we may think. And
sorry to interrupt. Are your figures taken from the whole world, global, or Europe?
This
or
is sorry,
countrywide?
yeah, globally. Globally. And I think that there are some jobs that will be very hard to integrate AI into. As if you go back to like careers, you know, I'd like to be a pilot, you know, and if I get on a plane and there's a robot or an AI system, there's no actual human ingenuity behind the wheel, I don't think I'm going to trust that plane. I'm just saying.
I think I would agree with you. Mark.
Both teams, do you actually like ChatGPT? Because I just want to say, when Alexa came out, I was like, this is brilliant. I just talked to it, it plays the music I wanted to play. Fantastic. So, do you actually like using ChatGPT? Be honest, both teams, yes.
I feel like we're slowly becoming quite addicted to AI. Like it's usually our first thing we go onto when like we want to research something. And I feel like this is only going to get worse.
Just so you know, there's a lot of addicts here. Yeah, they're right here. I'm not going to name names, but they are here. Yes, Arena.
I like AI. It makes my life easier in some situations. But I feel really self-conscious when I use it. I'm like, am I becoming stupid? Like, if I'm not doing this work for myself, am I becoming stupid? And I try to, like, not myself, like, not use it sometimes. But sometimes it's just there, and you're just so tempted to use it because it's so easy, it's so direct.
Are you using it?
Me? No, I try my best to avoid it because my mom's like, the brain is gonna melt. But about the job, right? But I think the problem with AI in the job market is also that it doesn't just replace jobs, it replaces the entry-level jobs. So essentially the younger generations, we can't get into entry-level jobs and learn the skills because they're already taken by AI. So it's accessing like the career elevator and like blocking the bottom part. It's going to make it much more difficult for us, all of us here, to advance in our careers.
Yeah, something what Arina said, like I only got introduced to ChatGPT a year ago, and I already can see how much more I'm using it, how much more dependent I've become on it, using it. But like she said, it's usually something to use, but I think all depends on the person because obviously I try not to make it do my work for me, and I can mostly how to use it, but nowadays it's becoming, instead of Google, now we go straight to ChatGPT, and we don't really second guess it.
There's a broad discussion if ever there was one.
Perhaps if I can just pick up on the jobs debate thing, and I'm going to show my age here. There's a word in the English language called Luddite, and it comes from, of course, a period where people thought the weaving loom, the introduction of the weaving loom was going to put people who were producing clothing at home all out of jobs. And the same, I can remember, and again I apologise I'm showing my age, I can remember exactly the same argument about the computer, and yet look at the world today. And to pick up on our pilot friend, and I look forward to being flown by him in the very near future, every time he touches the autopilot, that's an AI, it's already there.
No, it's a computer system because you have to put in the coordinates.
Sorry, we can't hear that reply. Maybe it's best we didn't.
Yeah, he hit me.
Yeah, these are all valid points. Ron.
Have you researched and found out who's in control?
But who's in control of AI?
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, it's our decision to limit our critical thinking or not. But
You've researched the company.
Well, there's several companies.
Yeah, this is AI tools in general. This debate was AI tools in general.
So
And
Like-
AI is only 3 years old. There's not many studies on it, and especially the subjects we're doing now. There's only a few studies and they're not peer-reviewed or anything. They're all pretty new.
Who polices the company?
Who owns it?
The Senate.
ChatGPT is
I'm
open.
sorry?
The Senate. Is the government.
OpenAI.
We don't own it, but they govern it. Right?
No, but who polices it?
Well, they're not police. They're
They're
policed by
not,
the-
so they
they're
can
policed by
get
the
away
government.
with anything.
Well, no, they're policed by the government, right? Just like how any other corporations are.
What you're trying to argue is that because they're privately owned, they are not trustworthy.
Well, they have shareholders to keep happy, and I'm sure. But the other thing is, coming from my age group, there's so many people doing this. Am I going to see more and more people doing this because you've got another source of something to watch?
Yeah, and I feel like that's why it's so important that we learn how to use it as constantly.
Have you also, have you ever outsourced any of your non-professional lives to AI? Like asked it to help you have a difficult conversation with a friend, or argue with your parents about letting you out for longer? Or have you had any of these? Have you ever used AI for something that's non-academic?
I sometimes use it to there's sometimes there's things I want to say, but I don't know how like to soften it, for example. You know, like a lot of times it's emails. I send emails to like maybe someone I want to get a job from, or maybe someone who, you know, I made a big mistake and I submitted like a deadline was very late, and you know I want to say something, but I want to say very nice, professional, or you know with a good tone. And for that, I would use AI. I would, because AI comes up with pretty good responses.
Yes.
I think it also comes down to if AI wasn't such an issue, you know, to limit critical thinking, then there wouldn't be AI checkers in the first place. You know, I mean, there are these programs in place to prevent the use of AI in students' work because, in essence, these people who implemented these programs do believe themselves that it's a form of cheating, it's a form of, you didn't write it yourself, so there's no cognitive thinking of yours that's gone into that essay or that piece of work. So, with that in mind, I think it's a pretty strong argument to say that, in fact, it does limit critical thinking.
Anybody going to close the debate after that comment? I think it missed a very excellent.
I would point out that if you're giving a lot of information and putting it in front of us, it actually disrupts us because it stops our flow of listening to you, what you're saying, and it distracts us. So tools like this are very useful because you can suddenly, and then it's explained as well. That's the other thing, is no point in just putting the tool down. If you explain it, it's all powerful. So that's another point. So, but there's some good information, excellent information that's handed to it. Body language, again, projecting your voice. Were you nervous? Were you feeling really nervous? Because you all came across really well. Things that throw you, I sometimes think when you're looking in the audience and you're looking at somebody and it throws you, maybe, you know, just looking ahead or what have you, so that nothing stops your flow, if you like. A couple of times the flow has obviously been disrupted, but you all handled everything really, really well. Came across really well, very positively, very passionate about what you were saying, convincing, used some convincing words and what have you. So yeah, very well done. So I'll put you out of your misery. The best, we go for best school first, that's right, isn't it?
Whichever you prefer, it's up to your team. Best debater or
Best school, very difficult one, really, really difficult one, but today we've pointed it to Queen's.